AMD is up another 4% today. And even though we had a really rough end of 2024, and this has taken longer than we had expected, it looks like AMD will still hit $200 by the end of 2025. And in this video, I want to give you guys an update on my positions, talk about what I'm currently holding and why, and where I think this thing is going to be headed, not just by the end of the year, but within the next couple of weeks. Let's start first with positions. I'm still holding my 2026 calls on AMD. If we go through and filter out just AMD within our trading journal, you're going to see here yesterday, the 24th, we ended up closing out a $40,000 profit on our leap call options. So this option was expiring 12/18/2026. These are the ones that I've been holding for a very, very long time now. I got back in these in September of 2024, and finally turned a profit. Now I closed these out for a $35% profit, I should say, and a $40,000 profit because of one main reason. And that's because now that we're trading at $140 plus, a $125 strike is not going to be appetizing for somebody who wants to buy these calls from me in the future. If I'm expecting AMD to continue to run up to $175, even $200, no one's going to want to buy a strike price of $125. So instead, what we look to do is close out that position, take a profit, and then go ahead and open another call option with a better strike price. So we went through, we opened up a new position for 12/18/2026, same exact strike, this time for a $140 strike price. So same date, different strike. I'm also still holding my long-term shares on AMD, which I'm finally up a good amount on. And I will continue to hold those at least till we hit $175. Now let's look at the technicals, starting with the biggest time frame in the weekly chart. If we take a look at our trading results for our trading bot or our weekly trading system, you can see in the past 10 years, we would have made a 2,965% return with only a 60% win rate. Now, the most important thing here is not the win rate. Like 60% is really not that bad. We're winning more than we're losing. But what's more important is our risk versus reward, which is 6.58. This means that when we win, the 60% of the time that we win, we're getting paid 6.5 times what we are losing, which is the most important thing when it comes to trading. So you can see that our average win here is about 41% and our average loss is about 6%. Now, for those of you who are long-term investors, with this strategy specifically, we would have made a 2,965% return. And if you would have bought and held, you would have made a 3,650% return. So in this case, buying and holding AMD over the past decade would have outperformed our trading strategy. But you have to understand that 3,650% return is only there if you did not sell a single share in the past decade. If you never took any money out of your position, which I think honestly is a fallacy because most people probably would have locked some sort of profits in. I mean, at least I hope that's the case. Whereas with our return and our strategy, we're constantly locking and taking in profits. Now, the other thing that I want you to realize is from a mental standpoint, yes, buy and hold would have beaten our strategy, but we never had to worry trading this if AMD was overvalued, undervalued, if we're buying at a bad time, selling at a bad time. We're just getting in when our requirements are met and getting out when our requirements are no longer met. Very simple, very clean. Now, back in September of last year, we had what looked like was going to be, in my opinion, a breakout, much like what looked like happened in November 2022, all the way through April 1st, 2024. You can see going back here into October 2022 on the left side of your screen, the BX trender turned green while the monthly RSI was increasing and the stock rallied significantly, about 52%, but we would have only closed about 44%. From there, we had a multi-month long consolidation. We would have played this breakout right here. And then we got a false breakout back in September when I initially entered with those 2026 call options. Now, this is where I messed up. And I need you guys to understand, right? Like, I've been doing this for 11 years, but I still fuck up all of the time. I should have closed those leap options out much earlier and not have held them. I should have just gotten out the very next week for a small loss, but instead I continued to hold them because I thought that the breakout was going to occur. And unfortunately, that did not happen. Price action sold off all through November and December, and I ended up taking a short-term unrealized loss, which sucks. Now, the one thing, if we zoom out, that has changed in the past couple of months is that we were no longer making lower lows or dark red on the BX trender for the monthly time frame. And this is very important. What we want to see is that first month closing with higher lows on that monthly BX trender. This is our indication that now the tide is turning and that we should get an increase or a breakout to the upside. From here, price was seated over this point of control, so we were having some trouble getting through that volume profile. But one of the things that we teach about this volume profile indicator on the right side of your screen is that when we get these breakouts into thin areas, such as $160 down to $120, that in most cases, price will cut through these thin areas of volume on the volume profile like a hot knife through butter. It will be very, very easy for the stock to break through that area and go on a parabolic run, or in the opposite sense, a capitulation and a massive sell-off. Now, since the beginning of June or end of May, when we got that BX confirmation, the stock is now up 26%. And if we take a look at our trading bot, it's expecting within the next 3 to 6 months, a best case scenario breakout up to $225 by September into the end of November. And I think that that could very easily happen. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be short-term pullbacks. Doesn't mean that the stock's not going to end up rejecting anytime soon. But I do think that over that extended period of time of 3, 6, worst case 9 months, pushing up to all-time highs is most certainly on the table. Now, let's take a look at the daily time frame. So we were just looking at the monthly, we were just looking at the weekly, and all of these are important no matter what time frame you're trading. As long as you're trading with macro buying pressure, you can basically make money doing anything. Now, you could see here that our requirements for the daily chart are also still met. If we would have followed this strategy, we would have made 596% on our shares over the past 5.7 years with only a 43% win rate. So again, we are actually losing more than we are winning, but because of this risk versus reward ratio, we are cleaning up over the long term. Now, in this case, we would have actually made more money trading our strategy than buy and hold. And that's mainly because we're looking at a smaller sample size. Instead of 10 years, we're looking at 5.7 years. And over the past couple of years, specifically through 2022, and then again in 2024, AMD had some pretty crappy months. Now, zooming out and looking at these trades, you can see that we are losing frequently. But the more important thing here, as we've stated, and we always state, is that when we win, we are winning 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than what we are losing. For instance, I'll have no problem taking a 3.5% loss if it means a 22% profit. I have no problem taking a 4% loss as we just had back in the beginning of June if it means right now I'm up 13%. And this is the part about trading and investing that so many people get wrong. They focus on vanity metrics and they focus on just not being wrong because they are wired to actually be loss adverse and not lose money. So anytime they lose money, they see it as a problem. They see it as something to avoid. And that could not be further from the truth if you want to trade profitably. If you want to be a profitable and professional trader, then you have to actually learn to lose, and you have to learn to lose gracefully. I mean, look at the past 4 years for me. We're up $4 million and I only win 62% of the time. So I know what it's like to lose. I mean, shit. Look at this month so far. We literally had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losing days in a row. And I didn't quit. I didn't cry. I didn't get upset. I didn't say the system is rigged. I just simply moved on with my life and continued to trade the system. Now, you might say it's easy when you have X amount of money, but the same exact principles that I'm using to trade multi-millions of dollars, it's the same principles I use to trade $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000. And even in my group right now, This 1 hour swing fund only has about $70,000 and it trades the same system. This daily BX fund has about $200,000, trades the same system. So no matter what you're doing and no matter how much money you're trading, you should be treating it the same. Now, we're going to wrap things up and talk about where I think things are headed in the next couple of weeks. But if you want access to this exact strategy and to get all the indicators that we talk about here on this channel for free, all you have to do is check out our free course library down in the description. It is a 12-course masterclass series that will teach you everything that I know about trading in sequential order. There's no credit card, there's no catch, there's no fluff. It's literally just the most important things that you need to know for free. And the only thing that I ask in return is that you respect the process and you respect my strategy by taking the courses in order and actually dedicating yourself to mastering this instead of trying to make money fast and unrealistically. The link to our Discord community and our free course masterclass series will be down in the description. As we said, looking at the weekly chart, I think 200 pretty easy over the next couple of months. Short term on the daily chart, we're breaking out right now. And honestly, I have no idea where the top is. We have a bunch of gaps up here to 160. There's a chance that this could just continue to fill and we can get another 10-15% breakout in the next couple of weeks. What I'm personally doing is I will just sit within my positions and wait for the daily BX trender to turn red and then close out my short-term positions within our daily BX fund. I will not touch any of my leaps. I will not touch any of my long-term shares unless the weekly BX turns red, but I don't think that's going to happen for at least a couple of months. So until then, the only thing that we can do is stick to the system, continue to hold, continue to wait for our exit requirements to occur, and remain patient. As always, guys, thanks for all the support. I'll see you next time.